Hello. Good to see you.
All right there, Revenants. I'm so excited for this episode, and welcome back to Code Vein and the Road to 100, where today we're going to be looking at the Warped Blade, and this is one of the weapons that does not get used too much. We're going to be running Cert, we're going to be quick mobility, we're going to be right under the threshold here at zero point 0.9 pounds to spare, and we're going to be having damage that is very, very bizarre and weird. So this weapon is very, very unique, as it is the only weapon that boasts a 20% increase in blood damage infused onto the weapon directly. Now there are other weapons, such as we investigated last time, as the huge hammer, which has a 10% increase in blood, the lost heavy axe, which has a 5% increase in blood, and some of the other weapons through here in Vein, and the Rubelite Piercer has 10% in blood attached to it as well. But most of the weapons through here in Vein, they don't have any blood damage attached to them, but the Warp Blade is the unique one that has 20% increase to its damage based on blood. So if you go for a Pheon Chrome or something other, you can have blood and ice at the same time, having 20% each to those, which is really, really great stuff. But what we're going to be going for here is the Alleviated to give us quick mobility, and having that blood damage is going to come in really, really handy. So any of the damage numbers here that you would see that we're missing out on, 150 from here, so that's about 10%, and we're getting 10% extra from being quick mobility here, because normally you would run this with normal mobility on typical blood codes, but here with Cert, because it has a base a base value there of quick, a base mobility of quick, if we stay below the threshold of mobility or of weight allowance, then we're able to maintain our quick mobility here. So this is going to be really, really interesting, to say the least. Now, this weapon, interestingly enough, is the only piercing greatsword that you have available. So this thing does pierce, and on gifts it does crush. So it kind of changes the type of damage. But for the big reds and big purples in here, they have both a 10% increase to pierce and crush equally. So we're going to lose out on 10% damage there, but they have a minus 10% blood resist. So basically we get a 30% increase on our blood, and we get a 10% decrease on our damage type. So it works out in the end. If we do that multiplier, 0.9 times 1.3, so we have a 17% increase in damage basically from this set, and how it works out against the big reds and big purples in this zone of the dried up trenches here. So it works out in the end, and when we pair it with all these wacky and wonderful, crazy, wild gifts here, we get 20% here, we get 10% here, we get 25%, 30% basically, and here we get a whopping 50% increase in our damage, just because of frost weapons. So this sword in particular in this area goes through the roof with the damage that's possible. So I'm really, 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 really excited about this, and especially having quick mobility available to us here, it makes for a really, really fun run. And the name of the game here is Don't Get Hit, uh, and that's kind of what we're going to be going for here, is to simply not get hit. Okay, so then as we run over here, whoops, I wanted to knock this guy off the edge, but we didn't, and that's okay, we killed him anyways. Now this thing has a whole bunch of uniques built into it, just because of how it's built and what it does and everything. And it has these blood pillars that come out of it, and it has a whole bunch of interesting stuff that way. So you have to kind of take it for what it is. So as we continue to buff up here, we will continually get stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger as we run into these different characters along the way here. So up here we will have to kind of keep our wits about us. We'll go for a drain activator so we get some ichor back here, so we can so we can not get hit, hopefully, like that. And then we'll go for a backstab on this fella. And then we got Big Red running on over here. Okay, and we'll backstab him. So that's a great thing about having the Venus Claw available to us, is that we're able to get really, really high damage on backstabs, which is really, really good stuff. Okay, so now we don't have any defenses, but we can have really good damage overall there, as you see. We take him down in 3 hits, so we'll go for blood, and you'll notice that it's in our best interest to go for some of these running attacks and such, ouch, instead of the regular attack, because the regular attack decreases our damage by 90%, or by 10%. It has a 90% modifier on it, so that's kind of sad, but just the fact that we have quick mobility, we're able to kind of run through these fellas very easily, very quickly. Now the running attack has a 30% modifier on it, but that's okay. It makes for a really, oh, here comes this guy. It makes for a really, really good quick damage modifier, like that, as you can see there. And if we continue to do that regular standing attack, we do have some limited damage potential there overall. So now we're gonna be, oops, we got hit, and Jack actually revived us. I can't believe it. We gotta get out of here. Okay, so this is where you know, we have some issues. Good job, Jack. Oops, we missed the Big Red there. Okay, okay, okay. And if we could get a chance here to see what we're doing, we could go for maybe the heavy attack, which the heavy attack is a very cool attack. Okay, there we go. And it has the blood pillar built into it there. And that blood pillar also does crush damage, and it does blood damage as well. So even just doing it in front of somebody there, you can see that it does very, very good damage in its own right. 2,500 damage just for that blood pillar to come up is very, very nice. Okay, so let's go for blood. So through here, just running these guys down is pretty simple, pretty easy, pretty straightforward. But yeah, it's kind of dangerous overall, just because of the fact of how much damage these guys do. And if you don't have the defenses against them, it can be extremely problematic. So we'll just push him off the edge. And this does have the very, very nice damage multiplier of 155% on that thrusting attack there. And so you can get some really, really good damage regardless of what it is. So, and it being a pierce weapon, it puts itself in kind of a strange category, because a lot of things are weak to pierce, but they're strong to blood. So it makes for a very interesting combination overall as to what and how and where and when to use this weapon. And the dried up trenches is definitely one of them. Oh, I couldn't get the backstab there. I would have liked to have gotten the backstab. So we will go for the gunner first. And we'll let Jack kind of dance around over there, figure out what he's doing. Okay. Oh, this guy's here because Jack didn't kill him. Jack's healing himself because that's all Jack does. Okay, and we'll use an Aurora Flash. Okay, and now we've got this thing here. Okay, and we'll knock this guy. Oh, okay, I thought we were going to knock him off, but that's not the case. Okay, okay. And just the fact that we have quick mobility here is a huge benefit to us, because we're able to dance around these guys so easily and quickly. And Aurora Flash is very, very, very strong for us overall. So we're able to kind of steamroll through those guys pretty quickly, pretty easily. We used 1 health regen, so that's pretty good overall. And the fact that we have Jack available to us also means that we're able to go for his communal if we needed to, but it's not looking like it's going to be necessary. Now for this fella, again, you know, going for blood damage is going to be excellent, excellent, excellent overall. and because we have such a huge increase in our blood damage, because we're at 40% and he takes a 30% weakness, so that's a 70% increase to our blood, or to our damage, just because of the blood that's on the weapon and adding blood weapon as well, paired with his weakness to blood. It makes for a really, really, really good strong combo here. And I wish that the blade here had a much better use case overall, but it doesn't really it doesn't really present itself as too much of a overall useful weapon. It's just mainly situational at this point, but this is definitely one of those situations where you would want to go for it. Okay, and because it does, whoops, I can't see. And because it does pierce damage, it doesn't do a huge amount of stagger on this fella, but the weapon attack there does crush damage because of the weapon. So that's really, really good stuff. Okay, so we'll go for this. Good. Let's get some drain here. Okay, so now we are going to be in a bad way here. Based on what he's going for here. Okay, Jack's dead. That's really bad for us, because now we have, what we're going for here. Oops. Okay, can't see. Oops, and we're dead. That is a very, 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 very fast attack right there, and when you can't see and he's stuck in a corner, yeah, we take one hit and we just go down basically instantly, and that's really, really bad. But Jack definitely is useful at this point, simply because of his stack of morale boost, giving us 50 more stamina, because our stamina is at 266, so that takes us over 300 stamina, which is great. And when we have the chance to go for a stamina booster as well, it really, really helps. Okay, so as we go ahead and get ourselves going here, as we get up to kind of full potential here, it's kind of an artificial way to get the damage up at the beginning here, but it is really, really worth it. And I guess we can go for Tormenting Blast again. Okay, so let's go. And definitely go for all these things, as they help us get into the fight and the engagements much, much quicker. Okay. Good. And you can see there the amount of damage that we're able to get out quickly. Oh, good grief. Okay. And oh, good grief. Trying to go for the little idiot there. Ouch. And I didn't dodge. So the Despot, yeah, whatever. But the Warped Blade is definitely a very interesting weapon overall, as this is kind of the definitive place where you would want to use it if you were going for some kind of setup here to run the Warped Blade. It doesn't have a whole lot of usefulness other places, and again, it is a very, very, very situational weapon, just because of that blood being attached to it there, and it's a very fun weapon overall, but it's definitely difficult to put it into a build and actually make it become strong and become useful, just because of that 20% blood damage on it all the time. So as we go in for try number 3 here. Good. Oops. Okay, and it's good to do the running attack into another attack again. Oops. I wish he wouldn't be jumping everywhere. Come on, man. You're not supposed to be going crazy here. Okay, and let's go for a charge attack. Okay, well, whatever. Alright, and let's go for this and blood. And we'll see if we can get a charge attack in here for you without getting damaged here too bad. There you go. So you can see those blood pillars are extremely powerful against him. Okay. Whoops. Okay, and we'll finish him off here with a couple of attacks, and not too bad. But the charge attack on this thing is probably one of the most strongest charge attacks if everything hits, because you get a total percent modifier of a 400% modifier on that charge attack if all 3 pillars hit the enemy, which is why this blade can be strong, but again, only situational when these blood pillars go up 1, 2, 3. Each blood pillar is a 52.5% increase, or is a 52.5% damage of your physical value here, and the charge attack is a 235% damage of your overall damage here. So that's pretty interesting. That when you add it all up, you have about 400% of your damage that you can put out on the enemy just from those blood pillars. But you have to hope that all the blood pillars hit the enemy, otherwise you're missing out on about 150% damage overall. But that doesn't account for their weakness or strength to blood. So you have to kind of hope that you get a big enemy that is weak to, or at least stuns off of, and staggers off of crushed blood, and the despot happens to be exactly that enemy. And you saw when we hit him with that charge attack, he, even in stage 2, he staggered backwards, and he was kind of put off his rhythm there, just because of the fact that the blood pillars were hitting him, and they're very difficult to use because they move forward, and most of the enemies don't stay away from you. And you see here that they go 1, 2, 3, and they continue to move. They continue to move forward. But this weapon, or this strike here, the heavy attack, that's 130% of damage and the strike, and then the blood pillar gets 70% of the damage also increased to it. So it's a 200% modifier if the weapon strike and the blood pillar hits the enemy. So it's really, really good stuff there if you can actually get them to strike and connect with the enemy. So if we would go for something here, and if we would go for, let's see if we can go for it. Yeah, time crunch. And let's see, let's get rid of this and go for charge. There we go. And let's do this for a charge booster. So here, if you kind of see how these charge attacks go, okay, and you'll notice kind of how they put out on the enemy there, and you can kind of see that it's hard to get it to end up in his face because he's close to us, and the enemy's far away from us. But you can send it out at a distance there, but it's still kind of difficult to use overall. But you can see the potential that it has there to stagger the enemy, just because of the blood pillars going off and doing crush damage as they come out. So they're really, really good for stagger, but you have to have an enemy that's useful and capable of taking those stagger hits from the blood pillars that come up. Jack, you're blocking my view, man. I'll push you around. I'll push you over here. Anyways, but it's a really cool sword. It's pretty situational, but you can use it with all kinds of stuff to do pretty good work. But you really got to be wary of that 50 on the blood here, which is 20% increase to your damage. But if an enemy has a 40% resistance, let's say, to blood damage, then you'll increase 20%, but then you'll subtract 40%, so you'll be doing 80% of your damage. So you'll actually end up doing way less in the end, even though it's a direct infusion to the blade. So it is definitely something, you know, that is not used all the time, but you can definitely use it, and it has its use cases. But when you pair up here with all these wonderful gifts and such, it makes for some really, really crazy damage multipliers and everything. But yeah, so you get a 20% here, you get 20% here, you get for the big reds and purples, you get 50% here, you get a 30% increase from this alone, and then you get 20%, 10%, and 25%. So you're getting some crazy multipliers here that you can set up on stuff. But again, it all has to do with whether or not the enemy can be weak to blood or weak to ice to run such such a build on something like this. So if you would go with this versus somebody like the Gilded Hunter or something, you wouldn't do well, because he would negate your blood damage, and you'd be kind of nullifying a whole lot of the potential of what the weapon is used for. But it is a piercing weapon, so also keep that in mind, as it is a two-handed sword, a greatsword, and it does pierce damage, but it does pierce blood. So very, very strange kind of pairing to put together. But if you're ever in need of pierced blood, which is kind of only here in this area, but it does have some other places where it could be used to pretty good effect, but definitely of great use here in the dried up trenches. And as you see, there's a whole lot of places here on the map where you could be running around slashing people down or piercing people down, and this is just one of the use cases for it. And using cert again, this is also interesting that you have a fortitude of S, so you can have offensive order here, which when you pop offensive order, your defenses basically disappear. So having 20s on the defenses here is pretty bad, as we lose about 12 overall. But our drain attack goes up considerably, about 25% there on the drain attack for backstabs, and because we had about 1600 before, if I remember right. Okay, whoops, I didn't want to do that. Let's see here, because I think we're about 1600 on the veil. Whoops, yeah, 1670, and then we get about 20. Whoops, we get about 25%. About, yeah, it's a 20% increase on our weapon damage, but on the drain, 2004 over 1670. Yeah, so that's 20% there as well. So good to know, good to have, because of your backstab damage is multiplied by 2.5, I believe. So we would get 5,000 damage off of a backstab times 20%. So we would get a huge amount of backstab potential off of this just this gift alone. So yeah, good stuff there. All right. I think that about wraps it up here for the Warp Blade. Just to kind of go through some of the interesting high damage potentials of it. The running attack here, like this, is a 30% increase. The thrusting attack is a 55% increase. The heavy attack is a 70% plus the 130% plus the 70% of the pillar. So about 200 cumulative there, 200% cumulative. And then the charge attack, if you actually hit the enemy with all of those blood pillars, again, each one of those does about a 53% increase of damage, and the attack itself is a 235% increase. So pretty good stuff overall. So anyways, thank you all for watching, and we'll be in the cathedral next, and we'll see you there.